What is going on, guys? Customer right here, and today I'm actually really excited to announce that a new camera has been registered in China, and this may be an indication that the Sony A7 IV may be around the corner. We're going to talk about that coming right up. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Customer right here, and remember that I'm giving away a brand new Sony A7C. To enter in this giveaway is super simple. Subscribe to this channel right now, enable notifications, and go follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Gaston Shutters. I'm gonna be making the announcement on December 24th or the 25th. Worldwide entries. Good luck to all of you guys. So check out this post that Sony Alpha Rumor posted not too long ago, and it talks about a brand new Sony camera being registered in China. Now, every time we see a registration happen in China first, we're talking about a lower end type of camera, and this may well be the RX100 Mark 8 or the RX10 Mark 5 or something similar. However, there is a great indication here, which is the Wi-Fi capabilities and Bluetooth for this camera, and this coincides with the much more expensive cameras, full frame bodies, recent full frame body like the Sony A7IV. And we may actually be talking about the Sony A7 IV in this case, just because of that. But also there's a theory that Sony may just introduce, the greatest and latest Wi-Fi and Bluetooth technology, even in lower end cameras. But I think that Sony is going to be announcing the Sony A7 IV very, very soon, because there has been a lot of confusions, among the cameras that Sony is releasing. And also Sony needs to secure their position in the market, especially with Canon releasing cameras, Nikon, and Fuji. So there is a rumor talking about Sony actually pushing back the A7 IV for Q3 of 2021, and I think that is very far-fetched, because if indeed Sony is going to do that, they're going to leave almost a year open for other camera manufacturers, to capture the clientele. And like I mentioned just now, there is a lot of confusion with the Sony cameras right now. So let's talk about some of the latest announcements from Sony. The ZV-1, a camera that was actually claimed to be the perfect vlogging camera, but it actually was an RX100 Mark 7 with a flip-out screen, no touchscreen capabilities, no new menus or anything like that. Then Sony introduces the Sony A7III, which, by the way, I have it right here, and I can tell you that this is one of the best video cameras that I own, and very powerful. So this camera actually features, flip-out screen, touchscreen capabilities, brand new menus, 4K 10-bit up to 120 frames per second, dual SD card slot, CF Expert Type A, almost 10 million EVF, great resolution screen. So basically everything that we've been wanting is in this camera. And the Sony A7III is almost the perfect camera, and I mentioned almost because this camera features a 12 megapixel sensor. But for a lot of people, spending all that money for the Sony A7III with a 12 megapixel sensor made not a lot of sense. So the Sony A7 IV, needs to happen. It needs to happen sooner than later, because right now is the time to really define where a lot of people are going to spend their bucks, with all the options that we have right now. And the Sony A7 IV is going to be that great hybrid shooting camera, especially because also there's a rumor that the camera may have a 30 megapixel sensor, when it's announced. Although I don't think that's going to be right, because Sony is going to want to keep that low light capability, that great performance and low light of the Sony A7 III, by using the same 24 megapixel sensor, which actually performs incredibly. And there has been comparison between, I think Callie Pike did a comparison between the Sony A7 III versus the Sony A7III, and the difference were very much comparable. Of course, the Sony A7III had a slight advantage over the Sony A7 III. So having a camera like the Sony A7 IV with 4K videos capability, 10-bit internal recording, 4:2 is going to be the camera that a lot of people are going to want to buy. Now, there's a reason why we haven't seen an announcement for the Sony A7 IV, and that is because Sony had a pipeline with a lot of cameras, like I just mentioned before. The ZV-1, the Sony A7C, the Sony A7III, and obviously they want you to go and spend the money on that camera. But I think that we are at a point where we have a nice compact camera, like the ZV-1, another full frame compact camera like the Sony A7C. We still have the Sony A7 III, and we have a high-end video camera like the Sony A7 III. So this is the time to drop the ball and really announce the Sony A7 IV. And I mentioned before that we may hear from this announcement around November, or at least before the year ends. Sony must do that because Canon is working on new gear, Nikon is working on new gear, they just announced new cameras, and Fuji's still like lingering around there, you know, with some new cameras, you know, also rumored to be announced. So, do you think that this registration belongs to the Sony A7 IV? And are you holding on your purchase to wait for the Sony A7 IV to be announced, or are you going to be considering any of the other announcements from Sony? Let me know in the comments down below, guys. And as always, subscribe to this channel for more content like this one. I'll see you in the next one.